Sweet Science Brothers coming to you live from NYC. What up, YouTube boxing fans? This is your boy Av, coming to you live from Brooklyn right now. And I want to talk to you guys about something something incredibly important for boxing in general and for the middleweight division. And I'm coming to you with it's looking like bad news, honestly. I already did a video about the middleweight mess, and this is a continuation, I guess, a part two of the same subject here. Basically, there's an article on Boxing Scene, and it's talking about Showtime invests further into the middleweight division. And basically, it's talking about, the Andy Lee Saunders fight, which is going to be held I think it's taking place in Dublin, and they're going to be facing off for the WBO, Andy Lee's WBO middleweight title. And what's interesting is that this is going to be televised on ShowBox. It's happening overseas, and Steve Espinosa and Showtime basically put some money on the table, and they took the rights to air the fight live. Now, I'm looking at the article, and they're already talking about plans to have the winner, take on the winner of Peter Quillen versus Daniel Jacobs. And they basically, there's nothing wrong with any of those matchups. Just for the record, Daniel Jacobs and Peter Quillen is going to be a pretty awesome fight. I'm looking forward to seeing who wins that fight. That's a fight that is very rare for, Al Haymon and his whole, PBC. They put on a lot of mismatches and a lot of shit shows, but that particular fight is going to be good. I'm very interested to see who's going to win that fight, but from this article, we gather that Showtime's investing in the winner of this fight. They're televising this fight, and they already have plans to get the winner of this fight to fight Peter Quillen or Daniel Jacobs, whoever wins that fight. Now, this is bad news, and here's the reason why this is bad news. Because all of us boxing fans, okay, all of us hardcore fans, we want unifications, okay? We want unifications. We want one champion in every division to reign fucking supreme. Every boxing fan wants this. We're tired of this Cold War bullshit. We're tired of the fucking whole Golden Boy Top Rank, which now turned into Al Haymon versus everyone else. We're fucking sick of it. We're sick of what it's done to boxing. We're sick of the fucking cherry picks. We're tired of seeing, wasted talent. Like, for example, I'm going to give you a perfect example of this. Now, I'm talking specifically... the Cold War has been bad for boxing, but I'm specifically talking right now about Al Haymon and the shenanigans that he has pulled with his fighters. And it's sad to see what he's done to some of these guys. I mean, he's given them big paydays to fight trash cans, right? Tomato cans, canned tuna, sacrificial lambs, like when Danny Garcia fought Rod Celica, or when Keith Thurman fought a guy like a old washed up Luis Collazo. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we're talking about here. It's like you got these great young talented fighters, right? Who Golden Boy basically brought these guys up and built them up. You understand? And you have a guy like, I'll give you Danny Garcia is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Here's a guy who went from fighting, Eric Morales, Zab Judah, fucking Amir Khan. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was fighting top fucking... Okay, Morales was way over the hill, but bro, he fought Amir Khan when Amir Khan was, like, on top of 140. I mean, on top. Amir Khan was, like, the 140-pound kingpin who had just survived. He barely survived the fight with Marcos Maidana, but Danny Garcia went ahead, took that fight, knocked him out, and then he went on from there to go and fight Lucas Matisse. I mean, so you don't go... That's like a hell of a pedigree for a guy like Danny Garcia to have. And then he goes from that to fighting, getting his ass whooped by Mauricio Herrera, the People's Champion, by the way. That's the most robbed man in boxing. Unless, if any of you guys could comment below and let me know if there's any fighter who's been robbed more than Mauricio Herrera. But not to get off on a tangent. So, I described Danny Garcia's pedigree when Golden Boy was together, and then Oscar De La Hoya went on his fucking drug binge and his rehab, and Schaefer and Al Haymon were tearing apart his company, and ended up with all his fighters. But my point is, you see the way Danny Garcia was brought up, the competition he faced, and how good he was doing, and how sharp he was, and then he went from that to fighting Mauricio Herrera, losing that fight, and then going on to fight bum after bum, then fighting Rod Celica, and, you know, I mean, give me a break. And even Keith Thurman, like, they were building Keith Thurman up, and he was making good progress. And then he had his best win against Diego Chavez. And then ever since then, it's just been fucking bums. And I consider Guerrero a fucking bum. I'm sorry. If any of you guys say that Robert the Ghost is good, Robert the Ghost is not good. He's a fucking bum. He's never been a true welterweight. All of his work was pretty much at 140. I don't want to keep shitting on him. I'm sure he's a great person in real life. I'm just saying, he ain't a fucking contender. Don't tell me, oh, Keith Thurman fought Robert Guerrero. No one gives a fuck about that fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, it's just like bum after bum after bum. My point is that Al Haymon and his bullshit-ass fighters, they like to lock up belts and hold them down, and then he just feeds these guys sacrificial lambs, and he won't make any unification fights. He won't fight anybody else. He won't fight anyone from a different network. He won't put his guys to fight anybody other than his own people, and it's bullshit. So this saddens me that Steve Espinosa, Showtime... Steve Espinosa is a fucking Al Haymon shill, by the way. That motherfucker works with Al Haymon. And they got a whole scheme going on. And I'm gonna make another video about Al Haymon, because he needs more attention than he's getting. Especially from this channel. I promise that. I'm gonna do a video on Haymon. My point is the middleweight division here. We have a special situation now. Gennady Golovkin is the champ. You know... And he's got his belts. Canelo's got the lineal and the WBC title. They're both on HBO. And the only other title is that WBO belt. And I already see these motherfuckers are trying to lock that down, man. They're trying to lock that WBO title down and keep it on Showtime. And you know, Saunders has no... Listen, if Saunders beats Andy Lee, there will be no unification. There will be no undisputed title. That belt is not... No one... If Saunders wins, he's not fighting Gennady Golovkin. He said it out of his own mouth already. Andy Lee's a different story. He's a legend. He'll fight Golovkin. But if Saunders wins, I'm just trying to tell you guys, Showtime bought the rights to this fight and they have plans for that WBO belt. Okay? And if Saunders wins that belt, you're going to try to have him fight the winner of Peter Quillen versus Andy Lee, Peter Quillen versus Jacobs, and they're gonna just hold that fucking title hostage so we can get a fucking undisputed unified champion. And we already know the shenanigans that Canelo is doing with this catchweight shit, you know, and he might just relinquish the title. And I don't want him to relinquish the title. Listen, a lot of people think I hate Canelo from my last video. I love Canelo. Canelo's a fucking legend, and I love Mexico, and I love Mexican fighters, and my favorite style is the Mexican style. And I've always been a Canelo fan, despite the fact that he has been severely larger than the majority of his competition. Okay? But I knew they were building up this young lion, and he got all my respect when he whooped Lara. I thought he won that fight. It was close. A lot of people thought he lost. I thought he won. I've said that in previous videos. I respect Canelo, but that catchweight shit made me lose my respect for him. Now, if he ends up fighting Triple G, you know, at the 160, he'll regain my respect. And if him and Triple G come to some agreement, that's between them. But if he, you know, we'll cross that bridge if that fight happens. If it happens at a catchweight or not, we'll cross that bridge. But I'm upset about catchweights, and I don't hate on Canelo. I hate all fucking catchweights. The only time a catchweight is acceptable in boxing, okay, is when you have a super champion at one division and another champion in another division right under him, and they meet each other in the middle for a super fight, that's acceptable. That is an acceptable catch weight. I don't consider it acceptable when you walk in the ring and you're 175, damn near 180 pounds, okay, and you want to drain someone at 155-pound catch weight just because, you're the young 23, 24-year-old guy who your body can physically take draining 25 pounds and rehydrating. Like, that's bullshit. Okay, so that's why I'm pissed off at Canelo. And I'm only bringing Canelo and Triple G up because we're talking about the middleweight landscape right here. So if Saunders wins, Al Heyman's gonna put him they're gonna get him in the ring with Peter Quillin or Danny Jacobs, and they're gonna lock that belt down. And the most troubling thing is, I went to see the WBO middleweight rankings, and I'm posting it up right here. I was completely shocked. That out of the top 15 middleweights in the WBO rankings, Gennady Golovkin is not even on their list. So this is already set up here. Like, he's not a mandatory. He would have to have several fights here to rise up this ranking that they have here. You know what I'm saying? So this is awful. This is really awful. And this is bad, because all of us want, one champion, one undisputed guy. And for the first time in a long time, we're close to seeing that in two divisions. You know what I'm saying? In middleweight and light heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? We're close to getting like an undisputed champion who holds all the fucking belts. And even at heavyweight, besides Wilder, all the belts are with Fury right now. So we're very close to getting true undisputed champions, and that's what we want in boxing. And I'm really sad to see this. This is a lot of bullshit, and this is basically a continuation. I made a previous video about the middleweight mess, and I addressed topics like the Miguel Cotto and the Miguel Cotto fight with Canelo, and I was talking about catch weights and all this other bullshit. But this is the new development here where we got basically Haymon and Showtime are going to try to lock up the WBO middleweight title so we can't get that undisputed unified champion. And that sucks. That really sucks. And anyway, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how you guys feel about catch weights. Let me know how you feel about unification fights. Let me know how you feel about this fucking Cold War and about how, Al Heyman, Top Rank, Golden Boy, HBO, Showtime, all of these fucking networks and deals and all of this bullshit. Let me know how you feel about the fact that these things are interfering with the sport of boxing and interfering with us seeing the best fight the best. Don't get me wrong. Saunders winning that title and then fighting the winner of Peter Quillin versus Danny Jacobs, I have no problems with that if the winner of that fight ultimately wants to unify, okay? Because let's say Peter Quillin beats Saunders. Let's say Saunders beats Andy Lee, then he fights Peter Quillin, okay, or the winner of the Peter Quillin-Jacobs fight, and then that person's the WBO champion. I wouldn't have a problem with that guy fighting Triple G, and you never know. Triple G is not invincible, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just the trouble with this is that we know what Al Heyman's about and his fighters and what this whole fucking Cold War is about. And, all of this bullshit with purse bids, like a lot of people were saying, oh, like Adonis Stevenson ducked Sergey Kovalev, and everyone was like, oh, well, there was a purse bid and Sergey Kovalev left. Well, Sergey Kovalev has a deal with HBO. He cannot fight on any other network. So they knew they were going to lose that purse bid and they pulled out. It sucks balls, though. This whole situation with these networks, these promoters, and all of this shit has to stop. Like, the sport of boxing needs to come first. Unification fights need to happen. This is bad news. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how you feel about this situation in the middleweight division and how it affects the landscape of boxing. Not just in the middleweight division, but in all the divisions. This is your boy Av coming to you live from Brooklyn, Sweet Science Brothers. Holla at your boy. Peace.